Here we go. It's your old pal Emac getting you ready with an MLB live before lock, a little before lock. Lock tonight is at 7:15. We had 7 games. We're down to 6. Between now and then, you're also going to get 1.5 NBA shows because there is a game 7 tonight. So at 6:30, promptly after us, you will be getting, I guess, 3/4 of the show. And then there will be a second show covering the, Milwaukee Bucks at the Brooklyn Nets. This one is for all the marbles. Gundacker, how you doing?
Happy Saturday. I'm doing great. Little afternoon Yankee baseball is a really solid win, and I'm in a good mood. So hopefully tonight we win some money.
Excellent. Yeah, I had a nice little EuroLeague 2020 soccer. We have projections for that, so I had a nice little run on some of those. Last night I forgot to set my NHL lineups for Showdown Slate. Oh well, I ended up winning a winner take all for baseball that took care of that. Forgot to do my NASCAR lineups. I was pretty tired last night, so once the NBA game tipped off, I didn't set anything else. Oops, the rest of that stuff locked at 8. So we'll be on that tonight. But for those of you that want to have a little bit of fun, you can get in all the good stuff here at Awesemo behind the paywall. If you guys have not yet signed up for Awesemo, you definitely should. If you use the promo code MLB Live Before Lock, you can get 25% off your first week of Awesemo premium content. Need a way to get in for free? Rep that Awesemo avatar. Finish top 3 in any contest with at least 5,000 people. Can't be a tie, by the way. Can't be a tie, but finish top 3. So if you finish first and chop it with 157 of your best friends in NBA Showdown, we're not going to give you the free 30 days, but tweak that at Awesemo Hall of Fame or Awesemo_COM, and we will definitely celebrate that win with you. But if you win or get top 3 with that avatar in a normal situation, you'll get 30 free days of Awesemo premium content, 1 month for each of the sports seasons. We have people that max that out all the time, Gundacker. It's not a bad way to get in. And then finally, if you listen to us on the podcast network, that's right, the Awesemo Podcast Network, available on any podcasting platform that you can dare dream of. Leave a 5-star review. In that 5-star review, drop your Twitter handle or your Awesemo username. We're going to put you in a drawing for 52 weeks. Yes, once a week we do a drawing on Fridays, giving away 30 days of Awesemo premium content. Who says we don't ever give you anything? All right. No other weather really to speak of besides the Atlanta game, which has been postponed. It's 20 degrees cooler in Coors Field tonight. We've got the Reds in San Diego. A little bit nice there. It's 71 degrees. We have a light breeze coming in from left field in 6 to 9 mile an hour range. On the bump, we have Vladimir Gutierrez, who is stretched out enough to be a decent starter. And then you've got Miguel Diaz, who I don't know a lot about, Gundacker, so I'm going to turn that over to you. I want to look for one thing here. And no, it is not Tucker Barnhart. Who is catching? Tyler Stevenson, darn it. Because I did want to point out, and this is one to file away for tomorrow, because we will have Tucker Barnhart catching tomorrow. The San Diego Padres have 20 more stolen bases than anybody else in the league. Tucker Barnhart has allowed 22 successful attempts out of 28 to the opposition. He has the 6th most stolen bases against him. File that one away for tomorrow. There's still a good opportunity there against Tyler Stevenson. What do you got here in our first game? And in particular, who the hell is Miguel Diaz?
Yeah, so Diaz, I've got 20.2 innings of sample size this season. Very low swing and strike rate thus far, which is in line with the very limited sample size we saw in 2019. So I expect him to play more as a contact pitcher, which might eat away at this 27% K rate that he has so far. We'll see. It's still, 20 innings of sample size. There's a lot of noise often involved in that. But what that will probably do is at 8,100, first of all, Diaz likely not to go very deep anyway. It might just be a 1-inning guy. So 8,100, it's almost unfathomable to even consider him as a fantasy play on DraftKings. So I'm probably just going to toss him away and project a full bullpen game, which may not be great for the Reds. The Padres bullpen is above league average in every category except strikeout. So it could be a rough 9 innings here. And I'm sure the Padres pitching staff has kind of divvied out lanes for their bullpen and trying to create the best matchup for them. So it's going to be a tough spot for the Reds. Nonetheless, Reds offensively are pretty talented. Jesse Winker, Nick Castellanos, two guys that are sticking out for me. Tyler Stevenson, the aforementioned, here and there can get you with a little pop. So I don't mind a couple of shares of the Reds here. I'd also like to point out that this game for us is a 7:00 game, but it actually played more as an afternoon game out there in San Diego with the time adjustment. So maybe a little less of the marine layer concerns that often hits the West Coast games. Gutierrez 7,200. Sierra is almost double his ERA so far, so it looks like he's a little bit on the lucky side, below average strikeout stuff. I would imagine that I don't have any of either pitcher going into this one. And then you mentioned the Padres being the most aggressive base stealing team in the league. That makes them a pretty a valuable stack in my opinion, because they also come with some power. Fernando Tatis, Cronenworth, Manny Machado, nice little lane there. Hosmer's shown some power as of late, and Tommy Pham is one of those guys that can run with the best of them. So I do like the Padres stack as a multi-purpose stack that can, even if they don't hit homers, they can run for you. And the Reds bullpen has been far below league average in just about every category. That might be due to their home park, but still, I do like the Padres stack here. The Reds are going to be a stack I get to, but it's more of a bet on talent versus attacking the matchup, because we might only get 3 or 4 Reds with an at bat against Diaz.
All right, so no wonder I was getting confused. There are a couple Miguel Diaz's there in Baseball Reference, and I kept pulling up one guy who would pitch from 2017 to 19. He's like 19 years old. He was born in 2001. I'm like, this is not the picture doesn't do this guy any justice at all. So then now I'm finally on the right guy. So my apologies. That was throwing me off, because I did look this up this morning. So you're absolutely correct. Diaz is basically going to go 1 inning. He did start out as a multi-inning reliever, but he has not gone more than 1 inning since June 2nd. And then prior to that, it was the 27th. So he did pitch 55 pitches as the most. I don't expect to see him to go over 45, 50 in this one. And then, like you said, they'll turn it over to the bullpen. And then I did find a note. They being the Padres are trying to balance their rotation, because they start a series on Monday with the Dodgers. This is a little preview of what's going to happen in the postseason. All right. So there we go. Got that one squared away. Again, we're going till 6:25 Eastern tonight. We're going to get off so the other show could come on at 6:30 and give you 2 hours of baseball leading up to lock. All right, Gundacker, our next one. We've got some pitchers that we're going to want to look at here. The roof is going to be closed in Houston. We have Lance Lynn going against Framber Valdez. We have just about a 7.5 implied run total. Oops, math is not my strong suit. 8.5 implied run total there. You've got some dangerous hitters for Framber Valdez, but he has been phenomenal thus far this season. On the other side, you have Lance Lynn. I believe it was you that was saying, tell me I shouldn't be choosing Lance Lynn futures for the Cy Young. Was that you that mentioned that to me, or am I remembering Max saying he did it?
I'm seeing Tyler point at him, so I think it was Tyler. It definitely wasn't
Tyler. Me. Okay. I knew so. I'm sorry, Tyler. Tyler is very looking quite indignant now that I did not properly credit him. I kind of laughed it off a little bit, but looking at Lance Lynn, he's got some serious numbers at the moment. Clearly, that's a long shot bet, which is the kind you want to make for that postseason or I guess that, the postseason hardware there. What do you want to do here, and how strongly do you feel about these pitchers? We have a couple in playing for the various Los Angeles teams that we're going to talk about, but this pair seems pretty strong today.
Yeah, this seems like an unstoppable force versus a movable object. Wide range of outcomes, I think you can paint on this one. First of all, both pitchers in and of themselves, probably two of the best pitchers on the slate when you just isolate their stuff and their potential. Lance Lynn, a 2.85 expected ERA on the season, under 3.7 Sierra, a 28% K rate. And then Valdez, a 2.85 Sierra, 2.98 expected ERA, under 1 whip, with a solid 1-4 K percentage so far. So great stuff going on then there for the pitchers. Now we flip it to these teams. The strength for the White Sox has been as a team left-handed pitching, 126 WRC plus, dating back to the beginning of last season. They've been one of the best overall teams against lefties. So it's a tough matchup for Valdez, and then Lance Lynn's going against the Astros, a $122 on the WRC plus. They've been a really, really tough team to go against, and usually a low strikeout spot. However, today's lineup does offer more upside than you might think. Just Altuve, Brantley, and Gurriel have a sub 22% K rate against righties since the beginning of last season. So there's more strikeouts than usual in this lineup, which makes Lance Lynn a little bit more approachable in my opinion today. And I'd also say just because of the shallow pool of pitchers today, you probably take chances that you wouldn't normally take on a pitcher against the Astros and a lefty against the White Sox. And we kind of saw this yesterday with Carlos Rodon. It's not the warm and fuzzy matchup, but with value being super subjective on the slate, 20 plus DKP is usually the ballpark that I need to get to when I find a slate looking this tough pre-flop. So I think I'm going to walk the line here in 100, 150 lineups. I'm going to have a little bit of everything. White Sox stacks, Astro stacks, probably can get up to 30, 35% of both pitchers. And hopefully the right mixture falls at the top, because pitching is just too bad to not take shots here, but you have to concede that the matchup is very, very less than optimal for both guys.
All right. So reminder, at 6:30 tonight, we have Spags and Steve Buzzard, who behind the scenes is the Awesemo head of finance. He is also known as the Colts out there in the DFS street. He's won $1 million there in a single prize, as well as career lifetime, actually a couple. So you get some news from him breaking down the NBA game. And then at 7:30, Eitan and Greg are going to take over. Tomorrow we start back once again doing this all over. At 10 o'clock, you're going to get the NBA strategy show. We have what likely will be our final 2-game slate of the NBA postseason. I went to bed and Utah was up by 20 at half. I woke up and I saw that the Clippers were going to be playing the Suns on Sunday. I was like, what voodoo is this? Who released the wrong article? They ended up losing last night. The Jazz did. Unbelievable. I guess I missed one heck of a performance there by Terrence Mann, but you're going to get, let's see, back to this. Josh and Rinpack are going to be breaking down the NBA at noon until 1, a true MLB live before lock, myself and Max. 1:30 is going to be NASCAR live before lock with Jason Floyd and Phil. And then at 3:30, you're going to get live before lock Clippers and Suns edition. They'll talk about the late game too, but that's going to be Eton and Terry. And then you're going to have at 7 to 8, you're going to get Laffy and Eric Lindquist. I don't think that's a pairing we've seen in quite a while. So hit that like button to show a little appreciation to myself and Gundacker. And more importantly, hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you know every time we go live with new streaming content at Awesemo. Next game here, the dessert, I guess. It's cooler. It's not 100 degrees in Colorado, even though this game is going to be a 6 o'clock local. Was it 7 o'clock local start? You do have 80 degrees. We have Adrian Hauser going for the Brew Crew. He is staring down a 5.4 implied run total there from the Rockies. On the other side, Austin Gomber coming in at 6,600 here on DraftKings, an intriguing option as an SP2. We get a little bit of a discount. It doesn't mean you can't take a Willy Adames against him or an Avisel Garcia, anything like that. But Gomber is going to be one of those pitchers that's in our mix. This is not a full-throated roar of an endorsement going to him, but we don't have that many options out there that are truly secure tonight. How are you approaching this game?
Yeah, like I said, you got to get weird at pitcher on 2-pitcher sites tonight and play some spots that maybe make you feel uncomfortable. Gomber definitely would be very uncomfortable, I think, as a course pitcher. But you can make the case for him. Brewers have a 28+% K rate against lefties on the season. So far, so good at home for Gomber in terms of cores, a 406 xFIP this season at home, a 140 average, and a 0.32 home run per 9. He keeps the ball on the ground. Can't really ask for a lot more. So at 6,600, if you think that all pitchers kind of are bad in terms of fantasy points. Like even if you think the top dogs are only going to get you 20, 25, maybe you take the savings here. You hope for, 15 to 18 from Gomber, and that'll give you some money to spend upon bats. I really don't think I get to any Adrian Hauser here. He doesn't really have any redeeming qualities for fantasy, like in terms of the strikeout, a 7.5% swinging strike rate. One thing I do want to point out, Emac, is we kind of have a unique opportunity that we don't usually get on tonight's slate. There's a 2-hour gap between the first two games that lock at the same time and the next set of games, the Coors game at 9 and then the Angels game at 10 Eastern. And the highest owned pitcher right now is projected to be Framber Valdez. So if you end up being with the ownership on Valdez, like right now we got him at 42%, and he gets shelled because the White Sox have it in him to smack a lefty around. He goes down there and gets into like a negatives. Maybe use that as a punt prayer opportunity to go and change those Valdez lineups into like full stacks of the lowest on the stack, like full stack in Diamondbacks or something like that, just to make those extra unique versus the field. Just something we don't have the opportunity to do a lot in baseball because slates are usually staggered out. But for the highest price, the highest owned pitcher to be in game one with a decent gap there, I think that was something I would put in my back pocket. And also, like if you hit a crazy game from one of these other first few pitchers, you can swap more like the NBA and NFL approach here. But as far as stacks goes, it's Coors Field. We really don't need to jazz up much about Coors. Coors can turn into a football game real quick. Gomber at 6,600. He's looking like we've got him sitting around 25% own. And the Brewer stack is at 12%, so half and half there. I don't mind playing both sides of that. 25% of a Coors pitcher never feels great, but I understand the potential need for a spot filler because we did lose some Wainwright ownership. I get it. Brewers have been really bad against lefties, but I don't want to get over invested there. So 25%, that's probably be my absolute limit. If the field gets higher than that, I'm probably going to back off.
And that makes sense. I see someone asking in chat a couple good questions here. We have a skosh of time here because we're going to get through these games relatively quickly. So Eric Johnson's asking, hey, I'm getting a bit of Valdez in my optimal lineup. Should I cross him out? He's 30% owned. So looking at the top pitchers tool today, that's not our free content today, but every now and then that does make it in front of the paywall just to give you guys a little hint of the good stuff that is part of the Awesemo premium offerings. Today, the NBA player rankings and the MLB player projections are free today. So you get the point projections for the players. But in looking at the top pitchers tool, so Framber Valdez actually has basically a 30% chance of being a top 2 pitcher on DraftKings tonight. His popularity is coming in right now at about 42%. When I see a pitcher like that, generally what I'll do is I'll probably kind of cap him right around his optimal percentage. So I'll probably put him around 30%. That allows me to come in under the field. And then conversely, what I will do is I will take and put that extra 10% I'm lopping off there, put it towards Lance Lynn. I'll come in at 30% on him. He also has a 30% of being a top 2 pitcher, but the field's only on him at 20%. So I'm going to go under on one, over on the other, and that's going to give me some leverage right off the jump there for my pitchers. We look at a Walker Buehler. He's coming in at 27% likelihood of being a top 2 pitcher. He's only at 17%. For his ownership. You've got Patrick Sandoval, and we're going to talk about this duo in more depth. We get those other games, but he's at a 27% as well. He's coming in at 34%. Probably do something similar there. I really like Sandoval tonight. The roof is going to, sorry, they're not in Arizona. I like Sandoval tonight going against that Detroit lineup. We'll talk in depth there, but that's one where I may go over the field. But it kind of looks like to me, like the move tonight, maybe you just put everybody at about 30%, see where the chips fall. And go from there. That'll give you a little wiggle room on either side of most of the pitchers, and then you're going to end up with like a Josh Fleming or a Vladimir Gutierrez rounding things out, and Austin Gomber, etc. Just mathematically there. But that's probably how I will approach this thing tonight. So a little bit of study there. And then Clayton's asking, hey, can you explain quickly again how to identify low dollar contests with less top heavy payouts? Yes. Anything that is a GPP is going to be a top-heavy payout, full stop. You want to get in on the good stuff, go to Yahoo, play in their 200 person or less contest. Go to FanDuel, play in their 100-man leagues. Go to DraftKings, find anything that's a league or anything that is 500 or less people. Those are winnable, and they're going to have a less top-heavy payout structure. You're not going to have 5-figure nights, but you're also not going to have to redeposit if you find success there grinding those out, which is what I do. If you want to get a little crazy, you can also enter a bunch of quintuple ups. You're going to get 5x your buy-in just by beating 18% of the field. Now, that doesn't sound that exciting. Well, go look and see what it takes to get 5x in one of those large field tournaments. It takes a 1 percentile finish to get 5x. You can get an 18 percentile, or what, I guess an 83rd percentile, outcome versus a 99 percentile outcome and get the same payout. Yeah, I'm going to take that 5x. What do you like to play? We never talk. What is your format? I know you like to play GPPs, but do you kind of balance out some of it with these more realistic payouts?
Yeah. So I like to go by slate, right? Like I would encourage people to track their success rate based on slates, and for me, every slate is unique in its own right, whether it be weather concerns, ridiculous ownerships versus a normal night, or just lack of pitching options. So the nights where there's aces, I those are my big boy nights. Like I don't take too many chances when I can play a DeGrom, guys like that. So those are nights I like to really go after 100, 150. And then the other nights I usually stick around 50 lineups or 20, 25, but usually 50 is about the sweet spot on an average night like tonight. And on the 3 or less game slates, I don't really get overly invested in that. I'll throw a couple darts here and there, but yeah, I definitely every day is a different day. I let it be slate specific based on the matchups and the pitching options.
Yeah. Now, what I will do also is I'll generally in baseball play on slate like tonight, I'll have 150, 200 lineups. But what I'm doing is I'm just running them out across a whole bunch of those smaller contests as I described. But I get in the same, whatever. So I'm in the 50 cent, the 25 cent, the dollar. But I get in enough of them where I get about $200 in play, and then I just treat it like it's one big GPP because it's all relatively similar payout, including my quints, including a few winner take alls. I like playing on DK, so including some boosters there, and I just run with it like I'm playing the mini max and go from there. And by staying somewhat consistent in the buy-in levels, it's essentially the same as creating your own GPP. It's just one that I have a better payout for. I'll do the same thing when I have time to go over and play on FanDuel. I'll enter as many of those $1 100-mans as you can. You can put in three in there, and I forget what it is now. I think you get like $15 or $20 if you take that whole thing down. A true 1% outcome, you're getting 15x. A true 1% outcome on the giant tournaments, like I said, might be 5x.
Yeah.
Be smart with your money here. You're not going to see your name in lights, but if you're not having to redeposit, that is the way to go. Any other words of wisdom here for the Rockies game?
So I mean, whenever like Austin Gomber, he's not an ace in my opinion. So like for him to, if he's going to garner more ownership than maybe he should as a course pitcher, like I don't want to get too aggressive. Like right now he's at 25, 26%. So if that gets to 30 plus, there's no way I get to 30% Austin Gomber. I think 20 might be my limit here. But if Gomber's ownership goes up, like in turn, you would assume that means Brewers ownership goes down. And hey, a low-owned Brewer stack in cores, I can get behind that.
Yeah, and one thing for everybody to remember about Gomber, the St. Louis Cardinals didn't give up on him. They traded him to get Nolan Arenado. He was the crown jewel of the players coming back. So he's a talented guy. So it'll be interesting to see how he works out. All right, on to the next game. We have 3 to go. Reminder that St. Louis Cardinals one is postponed. And also we're going to 6:25 tonight so we can get out of the way for 2 hours of NBA shows that will be coming on after us. Same Awesemo channel, different link. Detroit going into Anaheim, taking on the Angels. We have some fun here. We've got Patrick Sandoval. So I wrote up Sandoval as one of the spotlight pitchers today. I put him in the secondary target. We have yet to talk about any of my spotlight pitchers, but he is going to be the first. I said tonight he is the lefty who is the lucky pitcher who will be facing the Detroit Tigers. The Yahoo, he's 32. Just play him as one of your two SPs on Yahoo. You got to think about it at 8,600 on DK, still worthwhile. FanDuel, the question is, will he get 6 innings under his belt to get that quality start? Not entirely sure about that, but at 7,800 takes a lot of that risk out of it. So there's upside for him across the park or across the sites. The Tigers are second in the league with a 28.5% strikeout rate against lefties this year. They have a bottom 5 WRC plus, which is at 87. That has them 13% below league average. Sandoval generally limits walks and power. Doesn't get a ton of strikeouts. I think he had 10 against the Mariners somehow. Hey, it's baseball. In his last 4 outings, he has thrown at least 83 pitches, including 94 and 101 in his 2 most recent starts. So on a pitch per dollar, considering the opponent, I really, really like him. What do you like here? Any rebuttal there on Sandoval? And take us through the hitters.
So the strikeout numbers on Sandoval are weird.
They're not quite Marcus Stroman-esque, but they come and go, and I haven't figured out why.
So his swinging strike rate is at 17%, which would be like the highest in, like that's pretty doggone high. And looking at this game log, like individually, like he had a 30% swinging strike rate against the Mariners earlier this season. And then most other games are between 13 and 17. The last outing against the last outing against the D-backs was almost 14%. And then that outing before was at 30%. So the whiffs are somewhat unpredictable right now. With that in mind, the Tigers are kind of predictable when it comes to whiffing and striking out. They got about 30% K rate on the season. I wrote a strikeout projection formula, and if I give Sandoval 90 to 100 pitches, it puts him at 7.37 strikeouts based on these metrics. So I'll sign up for that based on the shallow or the position scarcity on this slate. His weaknesses, if we had to point them out, so far he does allow a homer to lefties at a high tick, and that's actually been something that we've seen a couple years in a row. But the Tigers, they may not have a single lefty in that lineup, and so he does neutralize the power against righties. So I'll be behind Sandoval begrudgingly, but it's more of a, it kind of fits the bill of a middling pitcher with not horrible, not pristine underlying metrics, a little bit of hope in that swinging strike rate. And the fact that it's the Tigers, we don't have confirmed lineups from either team. On the Angels side, keep an eye on the status of Anthony Rendon. If he's back in that lineup, this becomes a really, really fun spot for them. And the Angels are right now sitting on, a total that sometimes you see in a Coors game, 5.7 right now. The Tigers pitching staff really, really bad. That bullpen really, really bad. And Willie Peralta, although he hasn't given up a run yet, has a 6.29 Sierra, so he's due. So this is a really good spot for the Angels stack. And Ohtani was one of my favorite hitters last night. I know I'm crazy, but I like him to curtain call a double dong performance last night in this matchup against the Tigers here. So I'm really, really invested in this Angel stack. It may be even longer than usual to get the confirmed lineup based on the Rendon status, but this should be a batting practice game for the Angels. And I'll be pitching Patrick Sandoval. I think he might be my highest owned pitcher when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I think he is one of the keys to the slate tonight. And I again, it's more expensive on DraftKings, is where I'm going to be playing most of my volume tonight. But there's redeeming qualities for him on the other 2 main sites. So that's absolutely key. If you were going to take a hitter or 2 against him, would you consider that? Would you consider maybe even a 3-man hedge stack? We don't have that lineup yet, but I am guessing probably scope Jamer Candelario, maybe some Eric Haas. I do like that he's catcher eligible on DraftKings. And those would actually be guys I wouldn't be afraid to play against Sandoval as one-offs, just for a little bit of differentiation. And by the way, I looked it up. Forever, I thought it was Heimer Candelario, right? And that's what it was. And then I remember before the pandemic, I was watching one of the games, and he actually pronounces it Jamer Candelario. Just a little fun there. I went and confirmed that through highlights today.
I'm in agreement. So Scope and Haas easily 1 and 2 for me. You just because Haas is a catcher, you got to double check, make sure he's in the lineup. But Scope is on man possession. I wouldn't be shocked if Scope is some trade bait in the coming month.
Absolutely. All right. We are sponsored tonight by OddsShopper. So we're going to talk a little bit about, I was looking to see if they had the Sandoval prop. They do not, but we do have an interesting one here for Austin Gomber. So see what you have there for your strikeout formula. But I want to remind everybody that one of the biggest edges in sports betting is always shopping to find that best line. The betting lines change by the minute and can vary greatly depending on which book you're using. That's why it is important to use Awesemo OddsShopper to find the best available line for the game or the player prop that you are betting on. And that will give you the edge to help you beat the house and be a sustainably profitable gamer, or at least not have to redeposit all the time. So you can go over there to oddshopper.com where we compile the best bets available for all the game lines, all the player props, players and team futures. It's updated all the time. So definitely check that out. So we've got Austin Gomber over here. Now, the interesting thing about him is if we look at a couple different sites, his over under is either going to be 5.5 or it's going to be 6.5. Now, if you think he's going to go under, you're like, okay, I definitely want to take that 6.5. But you're paying for it. You have to bet 159 to win 100. Now, if you think he's going to get about 5 strikeouts, you can go over there to one of the other ones. You can take a little bit more risk, but you're paying 100 to win 120 just for that half a strikeout. So that's something that's very important. And if you see there, you can look at the YouTube algorithm doesn't like us to say the names of all the betting houses here, but if you look at the SH and then you look at FanDuel, you can see that you bet on SH, you'll give yourself almost a 1% advantage there in the payout because you're only risking 159 to win 100 versus 166 to win 100. These small edges add up. What does your magical formula tell you about Gomber tonight?
For Gombers, okay. So
it's going to be right on the money, I'm sure. The books are good at these.
So the way I wrote my formula is to allow to per 10 pitches. So if in my formula, if he gets 80 to 90 pitches based on this matchup, I got 6.58 Ks at 80 pitches and 7.4 at 90. So it's about sitting out around a strikeout per inning. 1.17 strikeout per inning is what I got him at. Okay.
So again, relatively close, but I wanted to utilize that to demonstrate the utility there of OddsShopper. All right, cruising on to what do we got? It's 2 games left, and I got too many tabs open. Let's get a little peek here at the Dodgers. They are the Los Angeles team that will be facing Arizona. The roof will be closed in Chase Field tonight. Arizona coming in with the 3.6 implied run total. Walker Buehler was my top pitcher of the slate, and he is the guy that I wrote up in the Spotlight Pitchers article. Now, of course, no surprise, he's got the best matchup. He also is the most expensive. Now, there no great shakes there, but we're in the sticky stuff world here. And I know that my good friend and your good friend Gundacker sometimes likes to put his little tinfoil hat on underneath his beanie there. But I want to point out that Walker Buehler has had relatively consistent spin rates over the last 3 seasons, as well as over his last 5 starts. So either he's still doing something or he wasn't really doing something before. Now, the interesting thing about Buehler is he's not really the strikeout artiste. He is about going off memory, I think it's like 8.3 or 8.5 per 9. So that's not great, but it's not horrible. What he has done is gone through the 6th inning in all 13 starts. There's a lot of utility there. He gets a nice matchup against the Diamondbacks. This feels like one that's a little bit more worthwhile than perhaps taking a chance on some of these other gentlemen out there who have seen their spin rates go up by 200 or 300 RPM per pitch over the last couple seasons. Do you give him the seal of approval?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like about Buehler. I mentioned it with Bauer yesterday, even in the sticky stuff controversy, as Mega Man would say. they still have the lid on the stadium, and this is a stadium that the humidor actually plays for the pitcher. So I do like playing Walker Buehler. One of the things I also like about Buehler, if we reference the Awesemo top pitchers tool, got him listed at a 27.7, basically a 28% chance of being a top 2 pitcher, and projected ownership at the field is 17.6%. So plenty of positive leverage to be had there, and still be under 30% if you didn't want to give up too much equity. If I had to push back something against Buehler, his numbers against lefties haven't been super strong. He's lost about a 10% K rate from last year to this year against lefties, but the lefty sample size often a lot smaller than the righties and accumulates a lot slower. So this is a D-backs lineup that will come at you with more lefties than righties, but there's still plenty of reason to believe, especially since you mentioned how deep he can go into game 6-7 innings, they can walk away being a pretty solid play here. 11.1K. Like I said, if any pitcher I think can give me 20, even if it's an ugly 20, I'm going to take it no matter what the cost is. And I think Buehler, I think we should all be able to agree that, 7 innings, get 6-7 strikeouts, likely in line for the win, is a -217 favorite. I think that'll play, and he is more than likely a top 3, top 4 scoring pitcher at the end of the day, and no one's surprised if he's number 1. So even if 26 DKP is number 1, I think he's the guy for me. So I'll definitely be in on Buehler, and it looks like I'm nicely over the field on him.
Yeah, the other good thing is the Dodgers do have 2-1 opportunity or likelihood, I guess, of garnering the victory. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be Buehler's. If the game's tied, or if he leaves and the game is tied and he's ahead and the bullpen allows it to be tied, etc., it doesn't mean that he's going to get the win. But because he is going to go 6 or 7 innings to like 6 or 7 innings tonight, most likely it'll be a nice little opportunity for him to pick up those extra points, which is key. That's another fun thing you can look at OddsShopper. Like, there's a wide disparity. You can get, if you think the Dodgers are going to win, you can risk either $216 to win your 100 your 100 back, or you can risk $230 to win your 100 back. That's a 7-point swing on that. It's profit that's coming right out of your profit potential that's coming right out of your pocket. So keep that stuff in mind. Looking to the other side here, we have marginal pitcher Matt Peacock. So let's see. In his last 2 starts, he has issued 10 walks across 11 and the 3rd innings. While he has allowed only 2 home runs, he has given up 10 runs. He has also only has half a dozen strikeouts here. So even with Cody Bellinger, Max Muncy, and Corey Seager all out, Dodgers still have a pretty darn good lineup. We're seeing a nice lineup boost for Gavin Lux, for Matt Beattie, and then he did not get a boost, but he is in the lineup, which is kind of a boost as opposed to being on the bench, but Zach McKinstry. So those are the lefties. That's how we want to target Peacock. What do you like here on the hitters for this game?
Yeah, so Dodgers are going to have one of the highest run totals and likely one of the highest ownerships as a stack on the slate. Really not much pushback here. Matthew Peacock, bad at best and backed up by a not great bullpen. So I'm fine with the full onslaught of Dodgers stack. I love Gavin Lux in that 2 spot. He's pretty cheap on both sites, 2,900 on FanDuel, 37 on DK. Definitely, even in my non-Dodger stack, he's likely going to be one of my highest owned players just because of that opportunity. Really nothing to dislike here. The only maybe push back here is you're worried about some Dave Roberts swappage throughout the game, as he likes to take some guys out in the second half. But pre-flop, I like everything about this Dodgers team, and it's a positive matchup.
All right. So I just tapped the answer in chat, but for those of you who didn't get to see it. So yeah, the Arizona roof is going to be closed. Generally, Arizona will schedule out their roof for an entire homestand, especially at this point in the year. Their default position is the roof is going to be closed. at this point in the year. Occasionally, if it's a cooler night or there's a bit of a breeze, they will open it in the 7th or 8th inning. Sometimes that's not a regular occurrence. It's just too darn hot at this point. That will happen a little later as we get towards the fall, and in the spring is more often when it's going to be open. But at this time of the year, it's generally not going to be open. You did mention the bullpen. So bullpen had to pick up some innings yesterday. So most likely we're going to see lefty Ryan Buehler, Kevin Ginkel, and Corbin Martin. The last two are righties. Those will likely be the first guys out. They're the members of the bullpen that have not pitched in the last 48 hours. So not particularly inspiring. And if there's a complete meltdown of Peacock, Corbin Martin's the guy who will probably be the multi-inning reliever. Otherwise, they may just cobble it together. I didn't see many other people's on their roster that I thought would get there, but just wanted to put that one out there for you. Final game of the night, we have the Mariners hosting the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Yes, I said it, the Devil Rays. That's who they were when they came into the league once upon a time. Shout out for Crime Dog, Fred McGriff. Maybe a little Wade Boggs there. A lot of fun with those teams back in the day. So Logan Gilbert and Josh Fleming both are Matt Beatty. Thank you, Jimmy Bloomfield. I appreciate that. Although the tricky names here, I don't want to shortchange anybody. All right, we've got Logan Gilbert, who's the Mariners' prized possession of the pitching out of the minor league system. He's got a great fastball, and he has been getting better with each start. That is something that's encouraging to see. Tampa Bay, well, they do have power in their lineup. We don't have their official lineup yet, and they will be putting out a lot of lefties. They do have some strikeouts in there. So that's something that's helpful. On the other side, you're going to have Josh Fleming. Mariners, somehow they've won 5 of their last 6. I mean, get rid of all their good players to the injury list or sending them back down to the minors to clear their head, and somehow they're going to win, Gundacker. I'm not sure how that works. It's actually rather bizarre, but here we are. I'm not scared by the Mariners. They're one of the higher strikeout rate teams against lefties and one of the least effective offenses against lefties. Basically, Ty France and Mitch Haniger are the only people that Fleming is going to have to navigate. I'm expecting Fleming to flirt with 5 innings tonight. He may not qualify for the win, but and he doesn't have great strikeout stuff, but I think there's some strikeout stuff here at 6,800 that I would take 4 innings, 2 earned runs, and 4 strikeouts and be perfectly fine. Doing the math in my head, that almost reaches what? 20 DKP. Just want to throw that out there for you. What do you got here for the final game?
Yeah, so Fleming's pitch count is a little bit of a wild card. He got to 100 pitches against the Rangers on the 4th, and then just 63 against the Orioles. Orioles, of course, a little bit tougher against lefties. So it is definitely one of those potential inning eater spots if you get 6-7 innings. 20 at 6,800. I'd take that. Logan Gilbert's kind of in the same boat, except Logan Gilbert, his DNA calls for a little bit more strikeout potential. Was one of their top prospects in the minors. Definitely, I think he's their top pitching prospect. A 12.2% swing and strike rate so far in the big leagues. There's a nice little curve between AAA and the majors right now, and he's feeling it. But you're starting to see him put it together. We're kind of seeing that in some other pitchers that were really good in the minors and trying to put it together in the majors. And Gilbert, it's got a pair of solid starts behind him. The Rays do offer over 1-4 overall K rate on the season, but this lineup today has a lot of 30%ers. If actually we just got the lineup out, it's a little bit different. Rosarena leading off. Troy Diaz. So this lineup's a little bit different, more lefty. So Cash definitely will play the platoon advantage here. And Logan Gilbert's xFIP to lefty so far is 4.7 with a 31% line drive rate and a 44% fly ball rate and a near 40% hard contact rate. That's really, really concerning. And something I want to mention here is Gilbert right now is projected to be the second highest owned pitcher at 40%. Against all lefties, those numbers terrify me. So that might be one of the pushback spots if we want to beat up the chalk. I don't mind taking some Rays stacks here. I think the Rays might be amongst the lower owned stacks on slate just because of how high Gilbert's projected. So I don't disagree with the general thought that, if you expect a low scoring game, maybe throw both pitchers in the mix, throw a blanket over the win, hope for 2-0, 2-1 baseball. And be able to pay up for Dodgers, Angels, Coors, stuff like that. But there's plenty of reason to be concerned about the ownership on Gilbert, I think. And I think this lineup that got released might be enough to get me away from 40% on Logan Gilbert.
All right. If you guys are not following Awesemo_COM, what are you waiting for? I'm going to do a little legwork for you. I'm going to drop this link into the chat. Of course, we are sponsored by OddsShopper today, but hey, that's the Awesemo sister site. So we can talk about some of our other sponsors, even though they're not on this slate. Coming up, we have the 2 hours of NBA shows that will be on the Awesemo YouTube channel, just not this link. I've dropped a link there into chat. Yahoo is running a $1,000 free roll for us today over there for tonight's NBA game. Definitely want to jump in there. That's not going to pop up on their lobby, but if you have that link, you can get into it. So check that out. Nice little way for you guys to jump in. And if you had been watching our shows last night, you would have found out that you could use the promo code Awesemo20 to put in $5 and get $20 from Yahoo in Yahoo Sports Rewards points by using that promo code Awesemo20. I'm guessing they turned it off because that was a one-day deal. But if it still works, you want to jump on it. And that wasn't for new users. That is for everybody. So there we go. Jason Garnett would like to know how many Dodgers is too many Dodgers. And there's some people channeling their inner Butthole Jenkins and saying, who's the best play on the slate tonight? I'm going to utilize the one and only Matt Beatty hat tip to Jimmy Bloomfield for giving me the correct pronunciation there. What do you got for are you sniffing Jock again tonight?
Right. Now, every time he's homered this week, and it's been a couple, I relive that moment. He had 2 yesterday too. I got Tatis at the top of everything for me. I got him at a 4.2 rating on the bomb detector, solid sample size, and then Eric Haas is at 4.17, and then of course the Ohtani's up there. So the usual suspects. Haas maybe a little bit different based on him actually being in the lineup, but no surprises.
All right, 367 of you guys and gals watching. We would love for you to hit that thumbs up. Get me and Gundacker up to 100 thumbs up. I'm going to click it right now myself. Give you guys one more closer opportunity there. Again, we've got 2 shows coming on after us starting at 6:30. Free content for today is the MLB player projections. For NBA, it is the player rankings. You can find that at awesemo.com. You can also get every day the Awesemo Spotlight Pitchers and Top Stacks article that is written by yours truly. The tweak or the twist on that is I do a stack for every slate. You're playing the early, you're playing the evening, you're playing the late. I'm going to talk about a stack there for you. You don't need me to tell you to play Coors Field. You also have the leverage article every day that, along with his home run picks for every single team from T McBee. That is, again, free from the Awesemo paywall. You also get the NBA Deep Dive article written by a combination of Adam Ship My Money Share, Greg, and Terry T McBee. That is free every single day. And then I also do DFS building blocks for NBA. That, again, is free for you every day. Check that stuff out. All of us are good writers. We've been playing this for a long time. We put little nuggets in there of how to approach the game. Not just the best plays. The best plays are in there, but or the arguably the best plays or the best projected plays. But we give you some strategy, much like Gundacker was describing what you could do to leverage the early outcome of the first 2 games here with the heavy pitching ownership. We give you little tips and tricks that allow you to survive. I am 5 days away from my 10-year deposiversary over there on FanDuel. I've been playing DFS for a long time. I don't have to redeposit. I don't have to explain charges on the credit card or anything to my wife because I've learned all these tips and tricks that allow me to survive and wait for it, succeed. And I couldn't do it without the Awesemo tools. So check that out. Get 1 week off of Awesemo, or 25% off 1 week of Awesemo using the promo code MLB Live Before Lock. Final thoughts here. Top pitchers. Who's your top stack? And we'll get on out of here.
Yeah, I think if Rendon does end up in that lineup, and we're looking at Upton, Ohtani, Rendon, Walsh, it's first time in a long time I can get behind 5 Angels and not feel like I'm cheating. So probably Angels contingent on Rendon, and then outside of that, Padres and Dodgers, and then Coors is whatever happens in Coors. I don't get too tied up. I just go out there and get my exposure to it, and whatever happens, happens.
All right. Well, I'm running basically the same sort of strategy as you. It's kind of guiding us in this way, but again, you can leverage against the opposition by doing this properly for baseball. It's a big giant math problem. I said this on the earlier show. If we had this kind of math and subject when we were in school, Anthony, we would be, and I'm calling you Anthony because that's what your teachers did, I hope, we would be much better at math. Did they call you Gundacker?
No, I literally have always been Gundacker. When you're on the football team, bro, they call you by your last name.
All right, we're gonna get on out of here. I'm gonna show my shirt here to Tyler, who's ready to go on to the next show. This is my baseball themed shirt. It's a relief pitcher. See a picture of Bear. My wife thought it was funny, so that was one of my birthday presents this year. So.
That's cute.
There we go. Yes, thank you. Much appreciated. With that, gamers, good luck.